Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cat Scrappiness YouTube channel. My name is Marla and I'm with Mad About Cards and Crafts, and today I am sharing this adorable card featuring products from the new January release available now at the Cat Scrappiness store. Here is the Valentine Quokkas. You can see there are 4 Quokkas. I'm going to be using the 2 bottom ones, which I have already colored up. The hashtag hugs, the hashtag love, and then those double hearts. I'll be using the Embossed Edge Mini Slimline. There are 6 dies in this set. I'm using the largest one and then the 3rd smallest one. These are the Talk About It hearts, so they say love on them. I'll be using some Catherine Pooler Party Girl ink, some Hero Arts white embossing powder, and I don't show it, but I'm actually using a Tim Holtz background stamp. It's a plaid stamp that's called Lumberjack. I'm going to be creating a shaker card today, so I want a nice wide frame because I want to build a background on that frame. And as I said earlier, I am using the largest and then the 3rd smallest. I will cut this out on Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. And here's a look at it. And I'm going to get a beautiful embossed edge around the perimeter of this frame. And you'll be able to see it much better when I start the ink blending process. So there you go. If you look carefully at that edge, you can see that there's some embossing. It gives a really nice finished edge, which I really like. There were 6 mini slimlines released: the double stitched mini slimline, the stitch scallop mini slimline, the distressed edge mini slimline, the mini slimline wood grain frame die, the wonky stitched mini slimline. So there are several mini slimlines. I didn't know what I would think about them, and when I got them, I love them. I have to say, I fell in love with them. They very well could be part of my December favorite things video because I just think that they are fantastic. They're the perfect size for somebody who is a little intimidated by all of the extra real estate that I love on a regular slimline card. Here I'm drying my panel. I want to make sure that the ink is dry because I'm going to be doing some heat embossing, and I'm going to run the embossing powder over this frame just to make sure that nothing is sticking. There's a little spot that sticks, and I'm going to go off camera and dry that corner back again. And now I'm going to start building my background with those the hashtag love and the hashtag hugs, and then also the double heart. So I'm using my Misty right now so that I can use more stamps at one time, but eventually I will need to come in with my stamping block and stamp individually so that I can fill in some of the spaces. So I'm using my Versamark ink, and then I will run some white embossing powder, that Hero Arts embossing powder, over it. I'll use my heat tool to heat it up. I'm going to show you just a few passes. I'm not going to show you the entire process. It did take a little bit of time, and it's kind of like watching paint dry when it's repetitive like that, so I don't like to bore you with those things, but I will show you a couple passes. Anyway, back to these mini slimlines. They are the perfect size for somebody who is afraid of a larger slimline and wants something a little bit different that creates some more interest. And there's lots of things that you can do with these mini slimlines. They are the card base that I use is actually going to be 3.5 by 6. I found that with the Cat Scrappiness mini slimline dies that they fit perfectly on a 3.5 by 5. It'll give you, or 3.5 by 6, it will give you a little bit of a border. And I don't know, I'm just telling you, I think that you're going to be seeing these quite a bit from me in the over the next few months, because I think that they're a little bit more interesting than an A2. They're a little bit slimmer, obviously. They're 1 inch slimmer and a little bit longer. So here's where I bring in that stamp block, and I'm going to fill in some of these spaces just to make sure. You're going to see that I did stamp a double heart right here on the right hand side, and I didn't like the way that it's stamped, so I'm going to wipe it off camera, and here you see that it's going to be empty. It's going to be an empty spot, and then I will come back and fill that in. So this is that card panel that I'm using. As I said, it is 3.5 by 6. I did cut it out using Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. Here is the plaid stencil from Tim Holtz. I'm taking that Party Girl ink. I started with my Versamark out of habit, and I knew that I didn't want to do that. This Catherine Pooler ink does stay wet a little bit longer than a dye ink usually does, so I am going to be able to do some heat embossing. I needed to stamp it one more time. This is a red rubber stamp, so I did have to take my mat out of the Misty. And here I'm going to run some clear embossing powder over it because I just want a little more intensity in the color. And then I'm going to take the same ink and I'm going to run it along the edges because I think it's just a little bit too white for what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a, just the traditional pink Valentine card. And I thought that the white was just a little bit more contrast than I wanted with the panel that I've already created. So I'll quickly run this brush over the edges, and then I'll lay my panel down and notice that I want a little more pink in the middle. I don't want that white, it to be so white in the middle either. So I'll add a little bit of that ink blending, and then we're going to start building our shaker card. If you haven't subscribed to the Cat Scrappiness channel, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so that you're notified whenever we do upload a video. I did cut a piece of acetate to fit over the back of that card panel, and I am laying down some double-sided foam tape. This is fairly thick tape. It's much thicker than the Scotch brand. And so I find that I only need one layer, and you can notice that I am leaving just a very tiny border around the edge of that window. Off camera, I will fill in the remaining foam tape. And then I'm going to use my anti-static tool really well, especially on the inside of that foam adhesive. I want to make sure that I don't get any stickiness for these hearts to cling to. And I'm adding those Talk About It hearts. And then this is some Finnabar. They're like seed beads. It's similar to a seed bead, and I'm laying another piece of acetate over the back. People ask me why I do that. This card base is a little bit larger than my card panel, and I don't like to try to center things upside down. I find that this is the easiest way. I'm not a great centering person as it is, so this is a much better way for me to be able to do that. I'm using the sentiment Happy Valentine's Day. I'm going to ink it up with that Party Girl ink, and then I'm going to cut it down with my guillotine trimmer. I do end up taking it over to my card panel and realizing that I don't like those white edges on it, so I will cut those off, and now I'm going to glue it to the center right here. And then I decided that I wanted a little bit more interest once I adhere my little Quokkas down. I wanted a little bit more interest to that card panel. I wanted a little more color. So I'm going to take those little hearts and I am going to adhere them to the inside of the other hearts, and I'm going to be doing it pretty randomly. I'm not going to do it in any particular order. I don't do all of them, but I think that it adds just a little bit more color and a little bit more interest. And that's going to be my card today. I hope you head over to the Cat Scrappiness store, take a look at all these new mini Slimlines and this new Valentine Quokkas. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fabulous day.